Every day I wake up and I feel so alive. I think to myself.
Well, hello and thank you for coming back and joining us again at the Cheeky Cauldron podcast, where no topic is too spicy for the pot. I am your co-host, Ani Williams, and I'm joined with my friends and fellow co-hosts, Mai Cherie and Tamika Soretti. We had such a good time sharing our experience at the Cheesecake Factory with you guys that we decided to go out and pick our favorite restaurants to feature and try out and share with you in honor of Valentine's Day coming up. So whether you guys are into this manufactured holiday or not, there's some awesome choices for wining and dining in Austin. My choice was Lin Asian Bar and Dim Sum.
Okay, hi everybody. So this is my pick for a romantic restaurant. I know it's loud.
That fish was so good.
It was so good.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Oh,
Yay!
it is
We all
such,
love it.
I know, it's such a sweet little spot. Yay!
I love it.
Okay, so first of all, we had a lot of fun going there.
So fun.
There's a few things that I love about it. One is that the owner is a woman, and she came up through the culinary scene in New York, and her goal was to create authentic Chinese cuisine that was healthy with good, like locally sourced ingredients. And she was inspired by her grandmother. So this is a very female-centric, very powerful idea that this woman not only has this restaurant, but two other ones now. That's hers. And she was the dim sum chef at Wu Chang's. And then she left and opened up her own place. So her name is Chef Ling Ki Wu. And she's pretty amazing. The food's phenomenal. So, ladies, what did you think about the food?
Okay, one real thing. Was it Wu Chow or Wu Chang?
Oh, I'm sorry, Wu Chow.
Wu Chow.
Thank you
okay.
for correcting me.
Yeah, because
Oopsie.
that's very specific. That's an Austin staple.
Yeah.
And so we got to get that right. No, but I like it because, one, knowing that it was, her grandmother's inspired her. That's very personal. And that's somebody who's going to put a lot of love into the food.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why the atmosphere, because
Yes.
didn't it feel family? And our
Yes.
server was amazing. Like I felt like we were
Yes.
at her house.
Yes.
Right?
I love that it
And
was really cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was not just our server. We had other servers
Server-
coming by to check on us and make sure we were good.
No,
so
you're
that is
absolutely
very,
right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what we're doing, guys, is picking places that in this particular theme that we deem romantic, right? And so
Mhm.
everybody's idea of romance is different. And one of the other reasons why I love this in terms of romance was that it was so small and intimate, and it was noisy, and it wasn't trying too hard. Like it felt very just honest and simple and lovely. So
Mhm.
that was my choice.
Well, for me, it was a little bit different because it was noisy. And I mean, there's a thing of if you're like, I've been married 18 years. So if me and my husband go there, wherever we go, we take the romance with us. So it would be fine.
Okay.
But if you're going on a first date and you want to, have some quiet to get to know each other, you don't want to have to shout over all of the noise. So that's the only thing I thought about it.
Mm. Can we talk about the food?
Absolutely. I was just wondering if you thought it was
Yes.
how
thought
you
it
felt
was
about the romance.
I did think it was romantic. I thought it was, I liked the intimacy. There was a sexiness about it based on the lighting because it had like that red, warm
The
lighting.
lanterns.
Yes. So I felt sexy, and I think that the kind of the cherry on the top, the food was great, but the cherry on the top was like they really spend time crafting their drinks.
Yeah.
Those drinks were so
So
special.
special.
So
Oh, okay.
delicious.
Wait. Can we talk about the drink with the was it the flour?
The flower.
The tongue and
I always
flour?
put that clip in of me
Yes.
going, whoa. Like,
Oh, you should have.
because it was good, though.
You
Not good.
Oh my gosh. I love
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Do we remember the name of the drink?
Electric.
Electric.
Was it
Uh,
Electric Pink Lady or something?
Electric Pink Lady or something, because it wasn't the Victoria. I remember you did
Oh,
one
we
with
should
Victoria's
remember.
Secret. It was Electric Pink, maybe just or
Okay,
Electric
we
Pink.
will send out a little follow-up snippet of the
Yes,
name.
yes.
But it
flour
has
was-
this
yeah.
flour that when you bite into it, it numbs your tongue, and then you're supposed to wait about 5-10 seconds, and then you drink.
Yes.
And I was afraid to do it because she said it was spicy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't spicy.
But our server was so excited about everything she sent us. And I think she was excited that we were excited, like that we love food, right?
Yeah.
Like,
She was lovely.
I love
She was lovely.
special.
What about that fish?
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness.
We got a whole fish
Fish.
that was salt and peppered. Was it Szechuan style or like?
Yeah, that one was Szechuan style.
Yeah, because they had two. They had a Thai style, which was sweet, which we didn't do, and then we did the spicy one. And we got the peppers on the side. They were very accommodating. And there was no
very accommodating.
there was no attitude about it.
Yeah, because TT don't do spicy.
But you guys, they actually took the fish, broke it up, fried little like fish bites within the beautiful fish. It was just amazing.
Incredible.
So
Yeah.
One of my
I'm
top
so
picks
happy
now.
that you guys liked it.
Yeah.
I also felt really honored because these two are Austin natives in a sense. You guys have been here so long. I think you're natives by now. And I'm the newbie, and I was the one that introduced it to them. So I was excited about that.
Well, yeah, we always love new and exciting restaurants. So even though I've been here for over 20 years,
I know.
so I was in Austin at that.
Yeah.
I still love, like, I Google all the time the best of when I'm going to a restaurant if I need something new.
I think it's also a testament to Austin, right?
Mhm.
That there's so much, because you ladies are ladies about town. So that there's so much going on in Austin that's amazing that you still get to have new experiences.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's how I felt living in New York. Like I felt like there was always a new experience. You can live there for 50 years.
And there's always something. There's
new.
another. That's what's so great about Austin. There's all these little pockets of really great things to do, great culinary experiences. And I love that, we're the Cheeky Cauldron podcast, and we're growing and expanding. And with that, we get to have these experiences together as sisters, and we get to stir the pot in the restaurant. Yay.
Okay, so as we segue, I actually never went on a Valentine's dinner with my husband until we were together for about 5 or 6 years. So we're not big Valentine's people, but we are big restaurant people. And I do like a sexy restaurant if it's sexy because of food, atmosphere, whatever. But I want to go ahead, if it's all right with you guys, and segue into our topic.
Okay.
And it's marriage. It's, last week we talked about dating. We talked about what first dates look like. We talked about expectations and kind of where dating is headed, right? And how expectations have changed. Mm-hmm. So you can't help them but wonder, how has that affected long-term relationships? How has that affected marriage, or, people who are, what's it called? Common law married, right? Like if you're basically married, like how do those expectations affect that? And I'm really curious to talk about it in the cultural norms of America. So I'm talking about a traditional, quote unquote, traditional marriage of a man and a woman, a hetero cisgendered union, right? What are the cultural expectations, and how have those shifted through the years? I'm also curious how you guys feel about the fact that I think we're all feminists to some degree, right? And so the fact that women, it used to be a choice where you could go to work and stay home, but because of the economy, women kind of have to go to work. And what's that's doing for the kids, because type 2 diabetes is on the rise. Death by suicide for teens is higher than it's ever been. So there's something missing in the family unit, right? And I'm not saying I'm not giving the answer right now, because I'm really curious and I really want to have this discussion. Is it that the wife and the woman is important and pivotal in making sure that marriages and families are successful? Is it that we're not teaching our boys that it's okay to be nurturers, that it's okay to stay home and take on some of those responsibilities? Or is it just biologically off? Like, is it biologically incongruent with where we naturally thrive hormonally? So I guess my first question, because that's a lot, I know. My first question is, growing up, what sort of gender norms and gender roles did you guys glean from the way you grew up? Because I know you grew up differently. Like you grew up with your parents married, right?
Yes.
And together
Yes.
in a very traditional family.
Yes.
You grew up with a single mom, as I did, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know about you, you'll have to speak for yourself. My mom was single the whole time. There was no like dad was here and then left. There was never a male figure. It was just her and my sister. So I'm just curious what you guys got from not only the home, but from America, from the greater culture, from TV. Like, what did the male and female roles, what did you think they were supposed to be?
Well, for me, growing up in a traditional household with my mom and dad and 3 brothers in a very small town in South Carolina, I saw tradition. Like there were definite, like distinct roles between what my brothers did and my dad did and what my mom did, and how she taught me how to cook in the kitchen and making sure that the house is maintained. And then the boys took care of taking out the trash and mowing the grass and that kind of thing. And so the dichotomy between the role of my dad, who went to work every day, and then my mom, who stayed at home with us, was very clear. It was like my mom was responsible as the matriarch of taking care of the household.
And your mom,
things.
your mom did work or didn't work?
So no, my mom worked. She worked a little bit later when we were older. She worked actually at our school as a teacher, but for the most part, she was at home. She was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad went to work.
So you had a
to provide for the
very
family.
like American, culturally, like
Yes.
traditional upbringing.
Traditional.
Absolutely, yes.
And
yes,
when you walked
in
away
certain
from that,
ways.
is that what you thought your marriage would be like as a woman?
I can't really say that because I did want different. I don't think that I was in a traditional family, but there were a lot of things about it that I thought hindered my mom from actually being independent. I think that my mom and dad had my mom had a codependency on my dad, and the same with my dad as well. But I really wanted to be independent based on my mom, seeing my mom not being able to do the things that
being chained to the house, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's a full-time job to do that well.
Yes.
Right?
And I saw her break down sometimes, and it was really sad because I'm like, you can do whatever. Why can't you go out and do what you want to? Like, why do you have to be pinned down to like, this is what I need to do, and this is my responsibility? And it's great. Like, I love that she was there and took care of us they were married for 42 years until she passed away. So I think there's something to say about the family unit.
Right, because I want to circle back to you.
Yes.
But I love that just to put a little pin in that, right?
Yes,
so you're saying that you grew up with this traditional family, but there was a part of you that saw that your mother wasn't free.
Absolutely.
Free to do what she liked, to
pursue her
explore
dreams.
her passions.
Pursue her dreams. Like, she had 4 children, so pursuing her dreams was not really,
or all of her dreams. I'm sure
all of her.
kids
Yeah,
was
some
one
of her dreams. I feel like she was hindered from doing that. And maybe it was just her not saying, hey, I want to do this, or I want to go back to school, or whatever the case. But she got to teach. So that was a big part of it.
We'll circle back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what about you? What was yours?
Wow. Okay. So my mom was, for the most part, most of my life, a single mom.
Okay.
She got married my senior year when I was on my way at the door and on my way to the Navy.
Well, then, you grew up with a single mom.
Yeah. So, but there was times when she would have, being monogamous, she would have boyfriends for stints of time. But I just learned, that the woman is there, she takes care of her kids, and she holds it down,
And
even
were
without a
you
man.
aware that was her boyfriend? Or did you just think he was a nice man? Okay.
Oh, no. There's 2 in particular that were there for a long amount of time, and then the second one is the father of my sister, my younger sister.
Oh, okay.
And my mom thought she was done with kids, but then the surprise baby came, and she thought there was going to be marriage.
Yeah.
But
she thought this was the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that didn't happen. So I think that
But so you did have, did he live with you?
Yeah, he lived with us.
So you did have time where you saw your mother compromising and having 2 adults in the home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then that fell apart and he left. And so then it was from the time I was like 11 until my senior year when she was back to the single mom thing. But now she had 3 kids instead of 2.
But what sort of ideas did you walk away with when you went off to start your own family?
You know what? I don't think I had any ideals as far as what the gender specific roles should be. But when I did get married, he came in with ideals that were, it was going to be this, 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 and this. And, you know, he's the man. He goes to work. I should stay home. I should, you know, cook and clean. And when he got home from work, his food should be ready and his, you know.
So he was
and
very
he was very.
Was he older than you or the same
No,
age?
he was younger than me.
And younger. Okay. So the reason I'm asking this is because, so just really briefly to give my little backstory, I had a single mom. My father divorced when I was like a baby. So I never saw her. A man never lived in the house. I had no idea that she even had a boyfriend. I thought that he was this nice guy that used to bring us steaks and stuff. Like my siblings both are like, you're an idiot. But I had no idea. Like she just was really big on this hard boundary of no men in the house. She would go on these like these weekend retreats for work, which I now realize was so she could go be a human and hang out with her boyfriend. But yeah, she definitely kept that from me, right? So I grew up in a totalitarian home. My mother was the law. There was no one to see her compromise with, to see her disagree with. And it was very peaceful, right? There was no
As long as you follow the rules.
follow the rules, and everything is simple. So, what I think is interesting, though, is you guys are saying the same thing that happened to me when I went out into the world. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about what the roles were until I got into the marriage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I want to ask you, once you got into the marriage, did judgments arise? Did you look at your situation or at your husband and think, you're a man, you should do this? I, as the woman, am expected to this. I have this pressure, this expectation from wherever, society or whatever, to make sure my child is clean and his shoes don't have holes. Whatever. I'm putting a bit of my stuff on there, but whatever. Did any of that start to show up after you were in?
Oh yeah.
In the marriage.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what those judgments were then about roles.
In the beginning, I was happy to stay at home because I got to spend the first 5 years of my son's, you know, and not a lot of women get to do that, especially nowadays because you need to
have to work.
Income households. You know, you have women are out there and they have to work. So for me, that was great. But then when it, and I had no, judgment on it except for like you were like what I thought a man should do. Mine were the opposite, what I thought a man shouldn't do.
Okay.
He shouldn't cheat. He shouldn't hit me. He shouldn't,
those are good things.
Yeah, those are very good things. But that's what my marriage ended up being. And it was because at some certain point I had dreams and aspirations. Like y'all know, like my dreams are now in the stratosphere. I could not have those dreams and hopes when I was married because
would you have cared if he was not an earner? If you had the baby and he was like, I just can't work. I need to stay home. Can you go to work? Would that have bothered you?
I don't think it would have, but seeing my career, you know, up until this point, I wasn't making a lot of money. Okay. Because it took, you know, that they'd say it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation.
Right.
And I'm double that and I still haven't become an overnight sensation.
Right. But what if you would have had to go get a regular job?
In a regular traditional job, I think I would have been okay with it.
Okay.
But I feel like, I don't know, because I was selfish to the point of I wanted to be there with my son. And now, like, me and him are like this. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that I would have gotten that time with him if I had to go out into the world and work.
And what about you?
So for me, when I got married, I actually married someone who was traditional as well and kind of maintained those same traditions that were in my family growing up as a child. And I like what you said about what a man shouldn't do because he actually did all the things that my dad did for providing for the family.
And that felt right to you.
Yes, that felt right. And there was never any issues with that in our relationship. And he actually, when we first started our relationship, he allowed me to pursue my dreams, which I thought was even cooler because I don't think my mom had that opportunity. And he was like, "You want to start your own business? I'll help you get your business off," And I also was in school during the time that we were married, and we talked about, having children and all of that. So I was in a traditional marriage, and then along the way, there started to be some things that happened in the marriage that triggered me from my childhood that I experienced. And I thought to myself, I am in the same marriage as my mom was in. And I started, things started to close in on me. Like you were saying, like the way he talked to me, the way he handled me. So it was very male chauvinist. And it's like, I want to be with a man. I don't want to be with a pussy. I want to be with a real man. Okay. So
I just want to slow down and talk
Okay.
about that. So what?
Slow down.
No,
Let's talk about that.
What is a real man?
I mean, a real man is a provider, someone who will protect you. And also someone who respects you.
Okay, so stop there. So this is the point. This is the part that I'm trying to get to, right? We have these ideas. We have these judgments about what real men are. Mm-hmm. And we take them for granted. We're just like, this is fact. Of course that's what a man is, right? Mm-hmm. But not everybody feels the same way.
True.
Right? Because there are men who are not the breadwinners. They're married to women who out-earn them 3-4 times. They're the main caregiver for the kids. They're doing bedtime and reading and tucking in at night. Mm-hmm. And there's no judgment with that. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm thinking, we're all part of the same generation. Yeah. I'm actually shocked at how open you guys were like, yeah, I don't care. I didn't have any. I did. I definitely had judgments. I had judgments thinking that a man is a provider, number one. If I want to work or don't want to work, it's my choice. But when it comes down to it, the man should be out there earning and providing for me so that when I'm pregnant and can't tie my shoes, I don't have to worry about the rent getting paid or the mortgage being paid or the food on the table, right?
Yes.
So that is my own culturally, my own cultural conditioning. Mm-hmm. Like it is. And I didn't realize it right away. I just thought, well, this is how things are. But there's a whole other generation of people below us, millennials, who are like, no, that's ridiculous. So
yes,
I was just curious where you guys were at, because I think a lot of people are completely unaware of just how much conditioning is affecting how they view their spouse. Right?
Absolutely.
So you can go on. But I just wanted to slow down because you said, I don't want a pussy, I want a real man.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
Hold on. So then can I add in just to button on what you said?
Yeah.
Maybe subconsciously, because you said when I was younger in my first marriage, I didn't have those ideals. But the second time I got married, I had those ideals because now I'm in a place where no, my husband must provide. That's his job. Okay. But it probably took years of that subconscious thought to come out because no, he's got to pay the bills and And
you've also figured out what you want, but you figured out what you want and what feels right and how you respect him, right?
Yes.
Because it's a matter of you wanting to respect your spouse, and it's vice versa. What are his expectations of you? I mean, he's not here to speak for himself.
Well, he's very much a traditional man in terms of, no, I pay, like when we go to the restaurants, he pays the bill. When we go wherever, he pays the bill. He's fine with he has to pay all the bills.
And what does he want from you, though? What female roles does he expect from you?
He expects a hot meal. He expects loving when he wants it.
Loving, what's loving?
You know what?
Poor single woman. Go on.
I get love.
Go on.
And he just expects, like, I do take care of the household, but then there's also other things I do in terms of his business that he can't do it. Like he's not technically inclined. Right. And there are things that I do. I do some of the marketing. I do some of the stuff. And I just,
which is all still fine because it's his business.
It's his business, his stuff, and he needs that help to do it. But I help support him in that. And that's all he asks from me.
Well, this is why I wanted to talk about this, because being a therapist, right? And I have
Mhm.
couples who come in or people alone, and a lot of them are running into marital issues. And I feel like it's coming down to their own judgments about this conditioning that has come from society and from their home,
Mhm.
about how the spouse is supposed to be. And the way the economy is set up today, I mean, your situation is almost becoming elitist. Like, you almost have to be in an elitist position to not have to worry about having two incomes in a family because of the disparity with the economy, which I know is another
Absolutely.
topic.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely, I
because
agree.
of that, we have women who are no longer given the choice. There's lots of women, I think, who would love to stay home with their babies and maybe just stay home for a few years till they're 6, till they go off to school and then go back to work. That's what I got to do. I feel really privileged. I got the same thing. I got to be with my boy. Now we're thick as thieves, it's fantastic. So that's a privilege, and I'm so grateful for. But at the same time, what's happening to all of these lovely couples who are really in love and who are having horrible, horrible fights because things are falling apart at home, because kids are being neglected, because there's no more meals around the table, because the woman is exhausted, trying so hard to keep the family values that came from the 50s and all this stuff, right? And to be this badass working woman bringing home the money, a lot of times out earning her husband.
Absolutely.
And now she's also supposed to be this caring, nurturing, thoughtful mother.
Mhm.
And the sexy minx in the bedroom.
Exactly.
How do you do it all?
Exactly.
How do you do it all?
I have a question. What percent of those couples that you see, is there a power play in play? Because a lot of times, and I've dated some men who had money, that was the power play because they are the rich guy or the well-to-do guy, and they have the money. They expect certain things from you, and they hold that over you.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because
oh,
of cultural
absolutely.
conditioning.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I think it goes back to when boys want the nice car and the nice bachelor pad to attract the beautiful girl.
And they want the beautiful girl.
They want the beautiful girl. So look, I have these things. I'm established. I got this wad of money. I'll take you to the nice restaurants, whatever you need, right? Like last week, what we looked at with the guy, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Like, I have these things in place for you, but it's fallen apart because I'm sorry. Women are still, I think, my experience, and please disagree with me if you don't agree, I think women are still judged by society about how well the family's doing over the man. Now, I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about how successful the kids are,
Mm-hmm.
like how the house is decorated,
Mhm.
what extracurricular activities are going on, the vacations, the Christmas cards, the parties, the birthdays, all that. To me, the onus is on the female. And if dad decides to throw one birthday party, he is the man of the year.
Yes.
You guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I agree.
my question is, why? Come on, this has been generations of women working.
Mhm.
So why is it still like this? Why is it taking multiple? And I think it's because of conditioning.
Because the patriarchy, that's why.
Yeah.
But we're the matriarchy. I mean, I think what you're talking about in terms of we're expected to make sure everything is maintained in the house, make sure that the kids look, even down to how the kids are presented, what they're doing in school, while we're also trying to pursue our dreams. 'Cause it's kind of flip-flop for you all. Like, you grew up single mom, traditional family. Now I am the single mom.
I know.
I got divorced and now I am the single mom. So the responsibility that I have to make sure that my kids have everything that they need, and also be a matriarch as a single in my, breadwinner in my household, and then them having, co-parenting time with their dad. And so I think it's about finding that balance.
Me too. And I think that's why it's flip-flopped.
Yes.
Right? Because I think Tamika and I both grew up, even if we weren't consciously aware of it, we wanted that traditional family, right? Like, we didn't have it. And so we wanted it, and we wanted it for our kids, and
Yes.
because of the things that we felt we missed, right?
Yes.
And for you, you wanted your mother to have the autonomy and the
Yes.
decision-making freedom to go do what she wanted to do. So now we all flipped 100% the other way,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
and we're still looking
for that balance.
that balance.
Absolutely.
I was having this conversation with a client of mine who is a millennial. I might invite her out here once, and she and her husband have a magical situation going on.
Mm.
They take turns each week, who cooks, who reads to the kids. I mean, they have it all worked out. Now they're in a different generation, right?
Mhm.
And when I was talking to her, I was like, okay, but does your husband feel judged that you're like, out earning him or whatever? And she was like, judged by who? Like that just seemed foreign to her.
It never,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right? And I said, she goes, where is this judgment coming from? And I said, me. I hold it. Like,
Oh,
to
wow.
be very, very transparent,
Mm-hmm.
I have it. And the fact of the matter is, just like with systemic racism, it's not going to go away in one generation, right?
Yeah.
Well, systemic sexism isn't either.
Yeah.
We grew up in a very sexist America, the patriarchy, right? And so even though on a cognitive level, I know it's ridiculous. On a cognitive level, if I walked out of here tomorrow and suddenly started earning $100 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
my husband does not earn that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want him to go away because I was out earning him.
Yes, of course.
I wouldn't be like, well, you're a punk because I'm.
Yeah,
proud.
but do you think
Oprah
he
never
has that
said stepping
fear?
away.
Do you think he
Yes.
has that fear that
Yes, and
you will no longer
want him,
need him or want him?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't think for him it's a conscious or rational fear. I think it's something that is embedded. And because he grew up in a traditional family, his mother worked, but his father was the earner, right?
Yes.
And so, and it's America. Like, even if that wasn't in your home, you look at TV, right?
Yes,
All the
absolutely.
sitcoms,
Yes.
what our goals were. So yeah,
And I don't
guess-
think we saw that though normal in America until the Cosby Show. All
you mean, like,
before
with black
that,
people? Oh.
Like
Oh,
think
just
about
period.
the first TV show Diane Carroll had. She was Julia.
Mhm.
What was she? A single mom to a son. They always showed us in that light, but in a white family, it was the mother, the
we
father.
had the Jeffersons and we had good times.
I
Okay,
think
you're right. We did, but I think,
Well,
but
they had some
but
issues.
Florida. First of all,
They-
Florida didn't work. Wheezy didn't work. But in the Cosby Show, Claire, what was
Yeah,
she?
Claire
was a-
Huxtable.
And she was an attorney.
Yes, she was an
I'm
attorney.
sorry, I
Yep,
thought
she was an
Yeah.
thinking of-
attorney. Claire.
and she worked, but she still commanded the house, and she still. That's what
Yes.
I'm talking.
So that was in
And
the
it
80s.
still fell on her though,
Yeah.
even in the episodes, like the whole
Yes.
chocolate cake and mommy, can I have chocolate cake? No, baby, leave the chocolate cake. And then daddy comes, oh, here.
Dad,
Dad,
he's great. Yeah, he give us chocolate cake. I used to love that.
Right.
Yes.
So it was still showing the wife. She was the one
She
to
was the
make sure
disciplinarian.
the disciplinarian, the person with the foresight to see what the kids needed, the executive functioning. It is still like that. It really is. If I were going to do a
Yes.
consensus and just start tallying up the women who have the same exact complaints, like I want to do like a circle group.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, ladies, you're not alone. You're feeling
Yes.
like overworked.
Absolutely. No,
So,
I agree.
I know we could talk about this forever, but I want to, let me check my notes here. I just wanted to kind of talk about some hope, right? Like, what is it that we need to do to move forward, right? To move past this conditioning? Because it's not just us in this room. People have these ideals. We are in some way judging other people, even if it's not conscious, even if you love them, but it's like, oh, your husband is a provider. Excellent. Good for you. You made a good choice. He's not a deadbeat. He's not
Yes.
lazy, right? These are all the names. So what about those men who could be amazing nurturers? What about those men who might still work, but be more like your mom, right? Maybe they're a teacher and they don't make a ton of money and they have the summers free and the evenings free to take care of the kids and the mom's off running a Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why isn't that okay?
But I think that is kind of because where dating is going right now. A lot of women are choosing to, get the degrees, get the high paying jobs, and they're out earning men by, I don't know what the stats are right now, but women are out earning men by I don't know how much. And especially in the Black community, there's this big thing now. I was watching something on TikTok where Black women are really not expected to have the man that is, okay with her being out there earning, and she's not expected to marry up. She's expected to have
struggle and work.
have the man who doesn't make as much, have the man
deadbeat.
who, yeah.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
So
that
that's
is interesting.
happening right now.
I feel like that's its own topic. Like, what? I didn't even know that. So you're saying like culturally, the Black woman is looked at as, oh, you are the person who's getting the hustle on, who's doing all the work. And so does that have to do with
and that
self-worth?
might come in our 4th episode. So y'all just hold on.
Oh,
for it.
okay. All right. Yeah,
that is.
that's
Well,
very interesting.
I also want to just say that in terms of where do we get to this space where we do have this healthy relationship, it doesn't matter if the man is earning more money or the woman is earning more money. It's about communicating. Like when you get into a relationship, what are your needs? What are your core values? Like, what is that? And how do you bring that together if you're starting a family with one another? And what I've learned is that the couples that I've known that have stayed together in the relationship are both have this compromise with one another. And they also do couples therapy. They also communicate very well. There are a lot of things that happen in relationships. So instead of making it individual, it becomes relational because you're actually in a business agreement with who you're with.
I think you said communication, and I think that's everything.
Absolutely.
That and also being self-reflective, because people have these narratives running that they don't even realize isn't them. It's it's like generations back that have influenced the way they're thinking. And if they really stopped and grounded and got in touch with who they are at their core, they'd realize some of these ideas that they have are absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
But you have to get real with yourself.
You have to
and
get
start,
real.
And start examining your own bullshit.
Yes.
So anyway, like I said,
one of the reasons I was thinking, like, even in my relationship, when I requested, let's go to therapy, you're the problem. You're the problem, not me. And I'm like, well, if I'm the problem, well, then let's talk about it in therapy, or let's talk about it. Let's sit down and talk about it. It's like, no, just do what I say. And I saw that in my parents' relationship. And that's why I was like, oh, I'm out. This is not going to work.
Because that's toxic.
That's
right?
toxic. Yeah, that's absolutely toxic.
One thing I did want to say before I wrap us up is that I noticed how painful this whole judgment thing is, because when the judgment is put over on this person that you really do love, right? Like whenever that seeps into my marriage, I really love my husband. This judgment, it's coming from someplace else. It then wraps back around to yourself, because then you start judging yourself and questioning your own self-worth, because in your head, if you were the right kind of woman or the right kind of man, you'd have a spouse who was doing these things correctly. Again, I don't even think that's conscious. But what it's doing is you have these two people whose self-worth is tanking.
Absolutely.
And then they're wondering why they can't get along or why they don't want to make love anymore. Like, where'd the magic go? Well, both of you feel like crap.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're not building each other up. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So communication is a big one, not only with the person, but with yourself.
Yes.
So anyway,
you preaching, girl. You preaching.
Like, we can go on all day about
this. Rabbit hole has no end. But anyway, so please stay tuned. Next week, we're going to talk about when the communication really does break down. And the only answer is the big D. No, not what you guys are thinking. Talking about divorce.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, thank you so much for finding us and tuning in and listening. And we can't wait to check back in with you next week. So please join us. And feel free to leave comments and everything. All right? Thank you. Bye.
Bye.